alignment as this moves forward.
Thanks, Shayla. We appreciate your work, and we work on many different things and appreciate working to you to protect the public of Nevada. So thank you so much for your time today. With that, we'll go ahead and go to Darla Zarley. She's a pharmacist with the Board of Pharmacy, and she's going to present the data behind this regulation.
Thank you, Dave and Dr. Holmes, and good morning, President Park and members of the board. This workshop item can be found on page 5252 of your board book. This proposed draft regulation is to schedule mitragynine, 7-hydroxymitragynine, and mitragynine pseudoindoxil in Schedule 1, which are all alkaloids of the kratom plant. Kratom products are derived from the leaves of Mitragyna speciosa tree native to Southeast Asia. Kratom is often marketed as a dietary supplement, mood enhancer, or pain reliever, and is available to purchase in gas stations, smoke shops, and from online retailers. Consumption of these products produce both stimulant effects in low doses and sedative effects in high doses, and can lead to psychotic symptoms and physiological and psychological dependence. Recently, more potent kratom byproducts have been introduced into the U.S. market. 7-hydroxymitragynine, also known as 7-OH, and mitragynine pseudoindoxil, MP. Mitragynine is the most abundant alkaloid among 50 other alkaloids present in kratom. It is considered to be a partial opioid agonist acting on the mu-opioid receptor. Mitragynine has several other mechanisms of action in the brain, including effects on serotonergic, adrenergic, delta, and kappa opioid receptors. Mitragynine is credited for producing the analgesic effects associated with kratom. 7-hydroxymitragynine, or 7-OH, is a mitragynine metabolite that is converted from mitragynine in the liver. 7-OH has a significantly higher potency than the parent metabolite has been shown to have higher abuse potential. 7-OH is 10 times more potent than mitragynine as a mu-opioid receptor agonist. 7-OH is then further converted into mitragynine pseudoindoxil in human plasma, producing a chemical even more potent than 7-OH, approximately 100 times more potent than mitragynine, and as nearly as potent as fentanyl. Individuals report using kratom and similar products to treat several conditions, including headaches, diarrhea, insomnia, and anxiety. There are also reported cases of individuals using these products to self-treat symptoms related to opioid use disorder. Mitragynine, 7-OH, and MP containing products can cause effects that mimic classic opioids such as morphine, fentanyl, oxycodone, and hydrocodone. Use of these products can also lead to adverse effects, including liver toxicity, seizures, and substance use disorder. Research shows there is also a significant risk of respiratory depression associated with 7-OH, similar to that of morphine. Increasing concerns have arisen regarding the safety of kratom and similar products due to their high potential for misuse and misleading labeling. The FDA has warned consumers not to use kratom because of the risk of serious adverse events, including liver toxicity, seizures, and substance use disorder. The FDA has taken steps to restrict the sale of 7-OH and has pushed for its scheduling under the Controlled Substance Act. The availability of 7-OH products is a major concern for the FDA, and as consumers can easily purchase products with concentrated levels of 7-OH online and in gas stations, corner stores, and vape shops. The FDA is particularly concerned with the growing market of 7-OH products that may be especially appealing to children and teenagers, such as fruit-flavored gummies and ice cream cones. These products may not be clearly or may not be clearly or accurately labeled as to their 7-OH content and are sometimes disguised or marketed as kratom. The FDA has also published educational materials for consumers to be more informed about these harmful products. In June of 2025, the FDA issued warning letters to 7 companies for illegally distributing products containing 7-OH, including tablets, gummies, drink mixes, and shots. The FDA is also issuing a letter to healthcare professionals and is warning consumers about the risks associated with 7-OH products. Cases of kratom-related substance use disorder have also been observed. In these cases, individuals met certain criteria for substance use disorder, including kratom for longer than intended, using more kratom than intended, and having cravings for kratom, continuing to use kratom despite adverse consequences, either physically or in their personal life, increasing the amount of kratom used to produce the same effect, which they've developed tolerance, and experience withdrawal symptoms when kratom was stopped, so they had physical dependence as well. The FDA is also aware of cases involving neonatal abstinence syndrome, in which newborns experience withdrawal signs such as jitteriness, irritability, and muscle stiffness following prolonged exposure to kratom prior to birth. Prolonged use of mitragynine, 7-hydroxymitragynine, and mitragynine pseudoindoxil containing products can result in increased tolerance, dependence, and withdrawal when stopping abruptly. In the event of suspected 7-OH involved overdose, it is recommended to use naloxone to reverse the effects. Several studies have shown success in treating kratom dependence and withdrawal with buprenorphine. However, there are no currently standard guidelines for treating opioid use disorder induced by kratom use. There are case reports of 7-OH mitragynine use specifically requiring medically managed withdrawal with buprenorphine. One study conducted of kratom users in Malaysia found high rates of severe kratom dependence among regular users. More than half of the regular users using for more than 6 months reported severe kratom dependence, while 45% showed moderate kratom dependence. Physical withdrawal symptoms commonly experienced include muscle spasms and pain, sleeping difficulty, watery eyes and nose, hot flashes, fever, decreased appetite, and diarrhea. Physiological withdrawal symptoms commonly reported were restlessness, tension, anger, sadness, and nervousness. The study author also noted that regular users who consumed 3 or more glasses of kratom per day had higher odds of developing severe kratom dependence, withdrawal symptoms, and the inability to control kratom cravings. Kratom is illegal in 33 countries, including Malaysia, where it is found naturally. Several states have either banned kratom or outright imposed strict regulations due to concerns over safety, potential misuse, and inconsistent product quality. States with full kratom bans that happened in 2025 were Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, Louisiana, Vermont, Wisconsin, and Washington, D.C. Many other states have pending actions to either ban or regulate the sale of these products. I also want to share with you with what happened in Utah. So in 2019, Utah actually tried to maintain over-the-counter access to kratom. And what happened is when these patients visited their doctor's office, they realized that, or they stated to their practitioner that they had no idea this was like a narcotic. The Utah State Medical Examiners reported nearly 160 related deaths over a 5-year period. Most of the substance or the overdose involved poly substance use. The state law saw almost 50% many kratom-only deaths in the recent 12 months, reporting in Utah as seen since 2014. Consequently, the Utah legislature proposed to add all alkaloids from kratom and their analogs to the state list of controlled substances in November of 2025. The bill, who originally sponsored it, voted to regulate kratom in 2019, but now sees kratom in all forms as dangerous opioid masquerading as a supplement. Kratom has no legitimate medical use in the United States and is not a controlled substance or listed chemical under the Controlled Substances Act. In addition, kratom has also been identified as a drug of concern by the DEA. To prevent harm to the public, we are bringing this forward for your consideration to schedule these substances as a Schedule I in Nevada. Thank you.
All right, Dave Weitz for the record. We're lucky enough to have Dr. Laura Knight she's the head of the coroner department in Northern Nevada, and she's going to present some data to you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Again, I'm Dr. Laura Knight. I am the Washoe County Chief Medical Examiner and Coroner, and also an Associate Professor at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. I'm here this morning to talk about kratom fatalities in Northern Nevada, and you have my slides, my handout. I just wanted to briefly go over death investigations so that you understand how these deaths are investigated in Nevada. Under Nevada law, every county has a coroner, and that coroner is the sheriff, unless otherwise specified in county code. Washoe and Clark counties have specified in county code that they have a medical examiner and coroner system, which is a medical investigation of death system. Washoe County Regional Medical Examiner's Office serves, of course, as the medical examiner for Washoe County, but we also serve 19 counties total in Northern Nevada and California. So we have a regional perspective on the data. Speaking specifically on my next slide about death investigation in Nevada as regards drug-related deaths. All drug-related deaths in Nevada under statute are required to have an examination. They fall under medical examiner and coroner jurisdiction. And according to state law and national guidelines, an examination is performed on anyone who dies in Nevada of a drug-related death. And so these cases have an autopsy, both by national standards and by our laws. And we follow those guidelines in my office, and we are accredited by the National Association of Medical Examiners, who makes those guidelines. Moving on specifically to mitragynine related in Northern Nevada. We first saw mitragynine in the death investigation cases starting in 2015. We had just one death that year, but by the end of 2020, we had seen a total of 41 deaths over that time period. We've been seeing an average of 13.6 deaths every year in Northern Nevada in this region since 2019 that involved mitragynine. And mitragynine is frequently seen in our casework in combination with other substances, particularly other opioids, in the postmortem toxicology testing. The next slide is a graph that shows you total mitragynine-related deaths from 2015 to 2025 in Northern Nevada. You can see that we started off with just a couple a year when we first started seeing it, from 2015 up to 2018, and then in 2019 it really took off, and again the average is 13.6 per year. We've had a couple of lower years, but we've also had some higher years where there were up to 17 deaths per year that involved mitragynine. The next slide just shows you those numbers by year in case you had a hard time seeing them on that previous graph. You can see for 2025 we had 15 deaths that involved mitragynine. And the total toll on Northern Nevadans has been 104 people who died with mitragynine in their blood, and it was part of their cause of death. There, of course, are other cases where people died of other causes, traffic accidents, natural deaths that had mitragynine in their blood, and it was not part of why they died. It was not attributed. So this 104 number represents people in which there was no other cause of death aside from the drugs in their system, and that included mitragynine. On the next slide, I just have an image of the front page of an article that was published in a peer-reviewed journal, the American Journal of Forensic Medicine and Pathology, from my office. I'm a co-author on it, and this was the first 35 deaths from mitragynine in Northern Nevada. Because this was a new substance in the United States, it was of interest in the forensic literature regarding what levels were seen in the blood in these cases. And we did publish this. What we're observing is that the levels were relatively lower initially as this drug appeared, and now we're seeing even higher concentrations in the blood as tolerance to these opioid drugs has increased with people using them over the years. Just some characteristics of mitragynine-related deaths in Northern Nevada. You'll see a graph here of mitragynine deaths by gender and year. I thought the board might be interested in who specifically in Northern Nevada is dying of mitragynine-related causes. You can see there are more men than women, which is typical of all of our drug-related health. And on the next slide, you can look at the age group by year. The largest proportion of these deaths are individuals aged 30 to 49, but there are cases spread over the adult years. moving on to the toxicology testing, specifically in metragine-related deaths here in Northern Nevada, we frequently see metragine being abused in combination with other substances, other illicit drugs, prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, as well as alcohol. Most commonly, we're seeing it in combination with other opioids and then different kinds of depressants like alcohol and benzodiazepines, which have an additive and synergistic effect along with this opioid drug, as well as illicit stimulants. So people are using their illicit drugs such as methamphetamine and cocaine in addition to kratom. We also are seeing 7-hydroxymetragine, which was described in the previous presentation. Again, it's a metabolite of kratom or metragine, but it also is being marketed as a separate drug. And it is more potent and unfortunately has stronger opioid receptor effects and an increased risk of respiratory depression and death when it's used on its own. On the next slide, this slide is a little busy, but very rich in data. Here I've represented over the 10 years we've been seeing metragine in Northern Nevada, a bar graph of what other substances are being seen. So this might be a little repetitious of what I've already said, but you can look here and see the specific numbers. And I call your attention first to the top line of the data chart at the bottom, where we say metragine alone. So these are the cases where only metragine was detected and there was no other anatomic or other cause of death at autopsy. And there are 6 of those cases over the 10 years where metragine alone caused the death. Additionally, I would also call your attention to opioids, other opioids. That line, that's the largest number of cases here, 71 cases over the 10 years, had another opioid on board. And so these people are using opioids in addition to kratom, whether they are attempting to use it for their opioid substance use disorder or as just an additive opioid high, or if they're on pain medications. There are a variety of different scenarios. On the next slide, I've just described some of the challenges that we have as regards kratom in the forensic pathology and forensic toxicology world. The postmortem toxicology testing has been limited for any of the metabolites until very recently. Our office has had a research collaboration with the research arm of our toxicology laboratory, which is NMS Laboratories, which is a national lab, to acquire the needed testing for those metabolites. And recently they announced that they now have a clinical panel that will be available for these, particularly the 7-hydroxymetragine that we now have seen packaging literally in our death investigations labeled 7-OH, more potent, that someone has purchased here in Nevada and used and then passed away. So we'll be able to test for those. This will increase our testing capacity. They also are including in that panel another derivative, the 7-hydroxymetragine, the dihydro derivative, which is unfortunately even more potent. And this tends to be what we see with synthetic compounds, is that there is medicinal chemistry being performed to add a side chain to change the compound just slightly to increase its binding at the mu opioid receptor and to increase, unfortunately, its opioid effect so that it's more and more potent. We saw this also with fentanyl and fentanyl analogs, as I'm sure you're very aware. On the next slide, just wrapping up the challenges, I just described how the 7-hydroxymetragine is being sold on its own now in gas stations. Some people are calling it gas station morphine or legal morphine. And it's just very different than a combination of alkaloids that you get in leaf kratom. It's concentrated single alkaloid with much greater potency. And then finally, the newer derivatives, as I mentioned, we're seeing the 1,2-dihydro derivative of 7-hydroxymetragine that has been seen in casework by our laboratory, NMS Laboratories, and people are accessing that. And then there's also a new 9-fluoro derivative that's even more potent and has been described in the literature as 240 times more potent than morphine. And again, these are completely unregulated in Nevada at this time. So my last slide, in summary, over 100 deaths attributed to metragine alone or in combination with other substances have been seen over the 11 years that mitragynine has been present in Northern Nevada deceased individuals in our medical examiner cases. We had 15 cases just last year. And the known derivatives of the mitragynine alkaloid have increased potency and even more danger of death with unregulated use. So I think it's obvious from my presentation that I would be strongly in favor of regulation. Thank you very much.
Doctor, I just have a question, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll go, after that, I'll go give a quick overview of the reg and then we'll open it up for public comment. I agree with your challenge. I think we work together, so we see a lot of different things. And the board sees this all the time where there's a chemical manipulation to get around what the law is too, not only to make it more potent, but to get around the law. And so we had some last minute discussions. I'm just going to call it MGM 15 and 16. And so if the board, I think if the board does move forward with something, we're going to, and we've done this in other cases, we need to get back to like the root chemical so that we can address all the derivatives down I'm sure you'll be happy to work with us on that. And the crime labs will happy to work with us on that. So I think the intent of the board staff in putting this was to, address that kind of issue, but we'll have to work with LCB on how that language comes together so that when, if there is somebody saying you can't do this, we have to be able to show them that this is the chemical that we're talking about. So I do think that's one of our biggest challenge, and it's with the cannabis, it's with everything that we see. So I think that the board's used to it, but I think you and I talked late. I didn't want to miss like MGM 15 and 16, but I think what we're going to try to do if the board does move forward is try to write something that kind of captures all that. So I think you can, I guess my direct question is that's what the issue is when you're scheduling things, right?
Absolutely, that's what the issue is, that these derivatives will continue to develop just as we saw with fentanyl and cannabinoids and all of the other drugs, as you mentioned. Yes.
Yeah, and when we write it, we try not, so just to be clear, if somebody wants to do, if we schedule something and they want to do research on it, there's a pathway for that for the board member. So there's a pathway. You scheduling doesn't mean research can't happen. It just means that it has to be FDA approved research, and the will give out a controlled substance registration to be able to do that research if it's appropriate in the state. So but we don't want to be too broad, and I think our first one was very broad, and then we talked to you about that and kind of removed it. But we have to find that medium spot, and Darla and I will work with you after this meeting if something does move forward to make sure that we're hitting those analogs.
To help any way I can.
Okay, appreciate your time.
Dr. Knight, this is Helen Park. I just wanted to thank you for coming in today and for your presentation. I think it's very helpful to know specifically how it has impacted us here in Nevada. And with that, I would say one death is too many. 100 deaths is heartbreaking. But with that, is it safe to say that is simply the numbers for Northern Nevada? And if we were to expand it across Nevada, it would be significantly a higher number?
Yes, I would say without a doubt, there are many cases in Clark County. I just don't have access to that data personally.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your presentation and for your service. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Dave Weiss, for the record, I'll just do a quick overview of the regulation itself and make it clear what we're attempting to do with this regulation, realizing that the board would have to pass it and they can make modifications to it. It really starts on page 5252. To be very clear, what's written here for your consideration is really two things. It is the natural leaf that's listed on 5256. And then the board staff has made an attempt to deal with the alkaloids that we know of. And like Dr. Knight pointed out, there's two more. By the time we did this, she said there's two more that we should consider. So I think if the board does move forward and want to deal with the alkaloids, I would just ask that you give us the ability to try to you point us in the direction, and we'll do that language with the help of LCB. So with that, Madam President, that's the reg. You can look at it. There's a lot of public comment that's been sent to you electronically and in paper here today. And then if we do receive more written comment today, we will add that to the record and get that to the board members. So with that, Madam President, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Weist. So I know that there are a lot of individuals that have come in today to speak on this item, and the board certainly welcomes public comment. What I'd like to do to organize the public comment for today is that I'd like to hear from those who are opposed to scheduling, and each individual, to allow a maximum amount of individuals, will be allowed 2 minutes per person, and we ask that you respectfully stay within those limits, and we'll have a timer going as well, up to a maximum of 30 minutes. So we'll start 2 minutes per person, maximum 30 minutes for those who are against the scheduling or the regulation. And then after that, we'll turn to those who are in favor of regulating. Again, 2 minutes maximum per person, maximum 30 minutes, just so we can keep the meeting going and complete the rest of our agenda. But we are very interested in hearing from you. And if by chance you don't have an opportunity to speak today, we are still accepting written comments, and then there'll be another opportunity, of course, when the hearing comes back to us. So with that, I will open up the floor for any public comment for those who are against or not in favor, opposed to scheduling. And then,
Madam President, do you want to start with the public that's here in public first and then save some time for the online?
certainly, yeah, if you could help me with that, that would be
We
great.
can, yeah. So if anybody's opposed and is in person here, please come to the table. And you can come up in multiples to save time, sir.
Thank you for your time. Martin Weimer. I'm 71 years old. I will start with my personal story. I've had 9 spinal fusion surgeries. My entire spine is fused except for my neck, and I'm fighting to keep that unfused. I've had some medical disasters after one of my surgeries, 3 months in a coma. This has been going on for 15 some odd years. I've been in pain. I've been depressed. I've been on every medication you can possibly imagine. I would love to relitigate the legislation that was passed to cope with the so-called opiate crisis, but that's the ship has already sailed. Let's talk about this. 6 years ago, I discovered Kratom. I was on a fentanyl patch at the time, also taking Percocet for breakthrough medication. I was essentially agoraphobic. I sat in my house. I was 70 pounds heavier than I am today. Depressed, essentially doing nothing. My social life had ended. Thank God my wife stuck through all of this. I discovered Kratom. Kratom, over the course of time, has allowed me once again to exercise. I'm an hour a day on my treadmill. I'm able to hike again. I'm able to enjoy vacations again. As I said, I've lost 70 pounds. I've gotten a life again. Now, doctors essentially have been put on a very tight leash in terms of pain management these days. As a result, it's almost impossible to get decent pain management. So you have to seek alternatives. One of the alternatives I found was Kratom. Now, you take Kratom away, you've already taken pain management essentially away. What is my alternative now? Shall I go out to the bar and drink Jack Daniels all day? That's legal. The medical examiner made a comment about, and this is how the hysteria fuse gets lit. She was talking about deaths in Washoe County.
That's the end of your 2 minutes, sir.
If you can just wrap it up, you can wrap it. You got a minute to wrap it.
Fine. Let's just take a deep breath here. I don't know if this is binary, that you're going to make it Schedule 1 or you're not. If there's restrictions that can be placed on it over 21, I understand that. That makes sense to me. But to simply criminalize something because of differences of opinion concerns me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you for having me today, and thank you for your time. Unfortunately, we only get 2 minutes. I did have quite a bit more prepared, but I will move through this as quickly as I can. My name is Andrew Sarles, commonly known as Drew. I'm 37 years old. I'm originally from Modesto, California, but I've resided in Reno since 2014. I'm here today to urge you to reconsider your decision to schedule the Kratom plant. I am a 14-year Kratom advocate who has not only safely and effectively utilized Kratom in my life, but has witnessed Kratom positively impact the lives of countless individuals over the course of those 14 years. I initially found Kratom in 2012 while in search for a healthier alternative to addiction prescription pain medication. I was born with scoliosis in my younger days. My cot angle was in the 30s. As I've grown older, I've also grown smarter with things like stretching and breathing and exercise to help alleviate it. I've also been an athlete and a martial artist my entire life, from ages 4 to 19. And I've suffered an array of injuries, such as broken bones, arthritis, tendonitis, sprains, bumps, bruises, etc., and several non-athletic related injuries, from specifically a car accident that almost took my life. That was when I was introduced to pharmaceutical pain medication at 17 years old for the first time. And 6 years following that, I dealt with dependence on it very heavily, to the point that it took a very large toll on my mental and physical health. I began my search for a healthier alternative in 2012. That search led me to discovering Kratom. And since then, I've not only completely stopped using pharmaceutical pain medication, I also quit smoking cigarettes after 13 years as a heavy smoker, as well as completely stopped drinking and any other illicit drugs.
Your time is up. If you can
Just wrap up.
wrap up.
Okay. In closing, it's given me my life back. I know I've come in contact with thousands of people the same, all of which are still alive today and well and thriving. And there's a lot of reasons to be skeptical, but I would highly urge you guys to further look into it and consider the testimony of someone with 14 years experience with it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, if we could.
Come on up,
quickly move
please.
to the next.
And if anybody else wants to come up, now's the time to come up so that you can say, you only have a half an hour. So come up to the table, sir. Come on up. You'll be next.
We can hold up a sign to tell you if you have about 15,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
like 15 seconds left, so you can make your,
Yeah.
close your remarks. Okay.
Thanks, Shen.
Good morning. I'm Jack Henningfield from Baltimore, Maryland, adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins Medical School. I've been since 1978. I formerly headed clinical pharmacology and abuse potential at NIDA, National Institute on Drug Abuse. And with Pinney Associates, I developed medicines. I've been studying addictive drugs and doing abuse potential studies since the Controlled Substances Act went into force in 1971. I started working on Kratom for clients that were developing products in 2013, and I've done my own Kratom-funded Kratom studies, animal respiratory surveys, clinical, so forth. Some of my studies are with colleagues at Hopkins, University of Florida, and elsewhere. I submitted materials, including a Kratom 8-factor analysis. I have been doing 8-factor analyses since that was part of my job at NIDA, and I continue to do it and routinely for pharmaceutical sponsors. Those are the very high standards. A book that I just published addresses all the issues that have already been mentioned today. I give you the first chapter of the book, and it covers 7-hydroxy and some of the other issues. A couple of points were made this morning. First, I completely support scheduling Sudendoxil and 7-OH. I'm in full alignment with the FDA on that, which didn't mention Sudendoxil, but my 8-factor analysis of 7-OH that I circulated to you electronically includes FDA's own documents, and I agree with their analysis. My analysis was much more expensive. A couple of quick comments that came up today. Sudendoxil and 7-OH are not Kratom alkaloids in the natural plant. They're synthetic derivatives. And if it's in the substance, in the product, it was added. You have a law that says dangerous substances shouldn't be added. They should be scheduled. They meet all criteria for scheduled. Mitragynine does not. the Animal Self-Administration, Drug Discrimination, Human Studies. FDA is launching a new study that will be done hopefully in a year. Their initial study was simply a safety study at very high doses in humans. Last thing, ask the medical examiner what the toxidrome is for kratom. It's not been well defined. You look at the medical examiner reports, they'll give you a blood level. There is no blood level that's accepted that is lethal. There is no toxidrome that has been established because intoxication, which is on most reports, is not a cause of death. Anyway, I urge you to look at the data, look at the evidence. I'm in agreement with FDA, DEA, and NIDA, and the World Health Organization. Public health interest is served by kratom access to consumers. But by that, I mean natural kratom, kratom derivatives, not products spiked with 7-hydroxy and other substances. Thank you. And I'm happy to give you any literature that you're looking for. If it's out there, it's probably in my library that has 1,100 articles at this point, 20 of them my own.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is Tony, 26 years old, and I grew up here in Reno. Firstly, I just want to be transparent that public speaking is absolutely terrifying for me, and I genuinely am freaking out. But that speaks to me working up the courage to come do this. I'll keep it very brief, just read off my paper here. I've experienced the impact of opioid addiction firsthand. My mother struggled with it for most of my life, and I lost her a few years ago because of it. It's something that runs in my family, and I understand where that road can lead. I was at risk of heading in that same direction. For me, kratom has helped me avoid that. It's something that I use to stay steady, clear-minded, and live a normal, happy life. I work, I take care of myself, and I'm a part of my community. If access to kratom is taken away, people in my position don't just stop. They often return to more harmful alternatives, and that's the biggest concern. I'm asking you to keep that in mind when making these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is Adriana.
If you can just speak into the microphone, Adriana, thanks.
Hello, my name is Adriana, and I was born and raised here in Reno, Nevada. And I've had a great experience working in the kratom industry here in Northern Nevada for the last 7 years. I am fully supporting the ban of 7-OH and pseudo and any derivatives of the natural kratom plant. The only thing that I'm here to speak about today is keeping kratom in its natural form safe and accessible, but also regulated. I would love to see kratom and 7-OH, et cetera, pulled from gas stations and from random gas station stores or smoke shops. And I would love to see it regulated in a space similar to cannabis, where there are age restrictions and there is just support from FDA, the government, pharmaceutical boards, et cetera. That's all I have to say.
Great. Thank you for your comments.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sinjin Smith. I'm a Reno, Nevada born and raised resident. I am one of the few professional mixed martial arts fighters here in this town. I've been a professional athlete for about 13 years. I run a nonprofit in this town, one of the few nonprofits that actively is cleaning this Truckee River in our watershed. I do not use substances such as alcohol, cannabis, prescription drugs. I have torn both of my ACLs. I've had 3 ACL surgeries. I've broken over 20 bones in my body. I don't use pharmaceuticals. I've been down that road because, my goodness, anybody who gets an ACL surgery, and Percocet, all of that. I can only speak from personal opinion and experience, along with many others here. But I do believe that if we continue to allow a substance that causes hundreds of thousands of deaths every year in the form of alcohol, yet we can, which is readily available to everybody at any time, especially in Nevada. But we're going to regulate a substance in its whole form, not speaking in favor of 7-OH, but in the whole form of that kratom. I can tell you from personal experience with moderate use based on pain. It has supported me, and I am all for having some form of regulation regarding that 7-OH stuff. I am no expert, but I am speaking again from personal experience. I'm in favor of keeping the whole leaf kratom involved in our lives, and it can be used, I'm sure, like anything can be abused. But we have an opportunity right now to consider this for all the other people who see the benefit from that whole leaf. And that's what I'm here to support. And I believe you all have the right decision in mind. I hope you consider that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Hey, Madam President, that's the public comment in person will migrate to the online. There's 7 minutes left in your time, but you can adjust that as you see. So we'll go ahead and move to the online people.
Okay, great.
Matt, go ahead and go.
My name is Matt Caddo, Senior Fellow Public Policy with the American Kratom Association. If there's one thing that I can leave with you, it is that 7-OH and its synthetics and semi-synthetic counterparts are not kratom. And as you evaluate kratom, you need to look closely at that. One of the leading manufacturers of 7-OH products publicly said that the way that they extract 7-OH from the leaves is they use pull shock chemicals, highly concentrated chlorine and baking soda. That is not kratom, and it needs to be explained and pulled apart when these discussions take place. The reason that the FDA today is not focused on natural kratom leaf products and specifically are targeting 7-OH and its synthetic derivatives is because they conducted a dose finding study, which I've submitted to you, and now that found that kratom was safe at well tolerated at all dose levels. And there's a follow-on human abuse potential study that's ongoing with the FDA right now. It would be premature for anything to happen in Nevada until that's concluded. Chair Park was right. Any death is tragic. But if you look at the NIDA and FDA web pages, they identify kratom deaths as rare. And when they do occur, they're because of polydrug use and adulterated products. The CDC data on the deaths that are related to kratom, they found that of the deaths that were metrogene only identified by medical examiners, they used more sophisticated testing and found for the blood samples available, they were polydrug use. The CDC has recommended that we should have standardized postmortem death investigations to make sure we get good information. The FDA adverse event reporting system looks at every single adverse event and every death. And they've evaluated and looked at whether there are clusters of deaths related to kratom, and their determination to date is there is no reason to intervene for a black box warning on any of that. The NMS Labs that was referenced earlier has identified in a peer-reviewed published literature that there is no toxic level of metrogene, and they give you a 100 nanograms per milliliter as a level concern, not that it causes any death. The board should not collapse natural leaf kratom and dangerous 7-OH products into one category. They have to be separated, and our consumer-based organization would support 7-OH scheduling. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Sir.
comments.
Dr. Ross, you're up next. Go ahead. Dr. Ross, your microphone's not on. If you can unmute yourself. Dr. Ross, you're still muted on your side.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
We can now. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi there. My name is Dr. Ross. I'm an addiction neuroscientist who has lived in Nevada for 4 years, although now I'm in Texas. I have worked with kratom consumers across the United States. I strongly oppose making any of these alkaloids Schedule 1. Whether or not you believe that these substances are safe, and I will say that they are, and all of these alkaloids are actually found in the kratom leaf. Making a compound Schedule 1 has consequences. Unfortunately, it leads people to the illicit market where they will consume pills, fentanyl, oxycodone, etc., and that will lead to overdoses and deaths. So you are literally going to be banning a safer compound and driving the public to more unsafer compounds where they will overdose and die. That's not public health. Unfortunately, that's public harm. So we have to really think about the 200,000 kratom users in Nevada and at least 10,000 consumers of 7-OH products. By the way, there's no data whatsoever in humans showing that 7-OH products are more dangerous than kratom drinks, kratom extracts, or kratom leaf. More research needs to be done, and I have actually done the largest study of 7-OH consumers in the United States. I believe I have sent my research report in. But I have to say that there has been a lot of things that have been overstated. The risk has been overstated on these products by the FDA, by other scientists and researchers here. And I'd really love to have a science-based conversation about these compounds rather than something that's driven by fear. I think that we owe it to the residents of Nevada who are struggling with chronic pain, substance abuse, and without these substances, kratom and 7-OH products, they are going to be left with the options of suicide, suffering, or street drugs. And I have to say also that these products are not, causing an issue with children or anything like that. Most teenagers prefer kratom. Most teenagers prefer cannabis products as opposed to kratom products because they don't cause euphoria. They cause dysphoria at higher doses. They are pain relieving. They are not euphoria causing. So there's a lot of science here that shows that they're different than traditional opioids. And I really want to urge the board to look at, causing regulations that are really much more saner, like 21 and plus, maybe dosage caps on 7-OH products.
Ross, could you wrap up your comments, please?
No problem. Again, I urge you not to schedule any of these kratom alkaloids and to support reasonable regulation. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for your comment.
Creighton McCain, you're next. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
This is my first Zoom. Y'all had to unmute. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, good morning. My name is Creighton McCain. I'm a Nevada resident. Excuse me. I'm here to respectfully oppose the scheduling of the kratom alkaloids under LCB file number R107-25. Excuse me. I'm trying to catch my breath. I am deeply concerned that the board is attempting to use administrative rulemaking to override the Nevada Kratom Consumer Protection Act. The legislature has already spoken on this issue by choosing to regulate, not ban this plant by scheduling these alkaloids. The board is effectively attempting to repeal a state statute without legislative consent and act of regulatory overreach that ignores the safety standards already in place for Nevada consumers. As a law-abiding resident, I do rely on the natural kratom plant to safely manage my pain and overall well-being. For me, and this is many years, it's been literally life-saving about maintaining a productive quality of life. And as a responsible consumer who only purchases from GMP-compliant vendors that follow strict safety and lab testing standards. In closing, excuse me, I urge the board to follow the true science and respect the laws passed by our elected representatives. The right approach is to regulate dangerous synthetic 7-OH products, not natural kratom leaf. Please uphold the KCPA and protect safe, regulated access for Nevadans like me. Thank you.
For your comments.
All right, Madam President, we do have a handful of more people. You're at 39 minutes or 34 minutes. Do you want to go for a couple more, or do you want to cut it there and they can give us a written comment?
I think we need to cut it there and go to written comment.
Okay, so for the people that raise your hand, you can provide a written comment to whatever you're going to do, and the board will see that and it'll become part of the record. With that, we'll migrate over to any comment that's in favor of the regulation. And if you're in person, come on up. You can come on up to the table to save time. Appreciate it. And then if you're, just for the people online, if you were against it, please lower your hand, or we'll lower your hand for you, and then we'll give a minute for people to raise their hand for it. So if you're against it, please lower your hand.
And please state your first and last name when you make public comment. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, board members of this committee. My name is Leah Cartwright, LEA, CARTWRIGHT. I'm here today on behalf of the Nevada Psychiatric Association in support of this regulation. The Nevada Psychiatric Association has been working on kratom mitragynine issues for quite some time now, since 2019, when that bill was first passed. We have seen and are seeing patients coming in for addiction treatment. They do meet the criteria for opioid use disorder from kratom and mitragynine alone. I do have Clark County death data from 2020 to 2023. There were 64 deaths in Clark County attributed to mitragynine. I also want to note that this is marketed heavily. There were some comments about, this is natural, this is a substance that we need to be allowed to use, that people will go to the illicit market. Right now, this is in gas stations, it's in your drugstores, it's in your pharmacies. It's marketed heavily in the gym world, our quote unquote gym bros. All of my little brothers are familiar with it because they hang out at the gym. They hang out with mixed martial artists. So it's marketed towards our young men. And it's also considered to impact military readiness. So the Department of Defense does not allow military members to utilize kratom or mitragynine. You are considered a security risk if you do use that in the military. So there are several reasons to support this regulation and prohibit the sales of kratom in Nevada. We are seeing deaths, we are seeing addiction. This is impacting our state and our neighbors, our relatives. So I would urge you to continue in this process. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments.
Good morning, my name is Hillary Tesluk. I'm the former vice president and co-founder of Quitting Kratom Support, and I'm currently the executive director for End Kratom Addiction. But I am not here today speaking as a founder or director. I'm here as a person in long-term recovery from both kratom and 7-hydroxymitragynine. I'm here to represent the tens of thousands of people with stories just like mine who aren't able to be here today. I found kratom in 2017. I was told it was a natural alternative for anxiety and pain. Initially, it worked. I stopped taking benzodiazepines, my social anxiety vanished, and I recommended it to everyone I knew. But the amount I needed for relief grew. My intake went from a few capsules to 100 capsules per day. Eventually, kratom was all I was consuming. I began losing my hair and became clinically underweight. I lost so much strength that I could no longer stand in the shower. That's the reality of kratom leaf. It's not a harmless tea, it's a substance that consumed my health until I was a shell of myself. I fought to get clean, but years later, I encountered 7-hydroxymitragynine. It was marketed as a refined product, convenient in single doses. Following a personal tragedy, I relapsed on 7-hydroxy. If you suffer from addiction, you know it's never just one, and that's especially true for 7-hydroxymitragynine. 7-0 is so potent that I couldn't see straight, maintain my balance, or follow conversations, and most concerningly, I often felt as though I had lost the basic reflex to breathe. I'm here to tell you that there is no safe form of these substances. Quitting Kratom Support helped thousands seeking help for kratom leaf addiction before 7-0 ever hit the market. The leaf itself was already destroying lives. These new concentrates are simply accelerating the damage and forcing everyone to pay attention to what was already happening. I urge you to take action to protect Nevada citizens by removing free access to these drugs, and I'm clearly in support of regulation. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments.
All right, Madam President, that's all we have in person. I think we'll go ahead and go to online. Dan Gibbs, if you're for the regulation, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Dan Gibbs, and I'm here to speak in support of the proposed scheduling of kratom alkaloids, including mitragynine and 7-OH. First of all, I want to commend all of you. It's such a breath of fresh air to go to a board meeting or a hearing, and your homework has been done, and the scientific data is being put out there. On December 6, 2023, my 25-year-old son, Austin, died after consuming retail kratom products. The medical examiner determined his death was mitragynine toxicity. His toxicology report identified no opioids, no fentanyl, no heroin, no prescription drugs, and no other contributing substances. His death was consistent with opioid-type toxicity, including respiratory depression. This was not an abstract or theoretical risk. This was natural kratom purchased in a retail setting. A substance cannot be described by consumers as strong enough to replace opioids like morphine, heroin, or fentanyl, and at the same time be considered a safe, unregulated consumer product. I also want to provide something beyond my personal experience. I submitted to you an official document from the Ohio Board of Pharmacy titled Classification of Metragedine Compounds as Schedule I Controlled Substances. This is not advocacy. This is a formal scientific and regulatory analysis. The analysis was conducted using Ohio's required 8-factor controlled substance review, the same structured legal and scientific framework used to evaluate Schedule I substances. Based on that review, the Ohio Board of Pharmacy determined that metragedine meets the criteria for Schedule I classification, including abuse potential, lack of accepted medical use, and safety concerns. Importantly, Ohio has already acted on kratom-derived synthetics, placing compounds such as 7-OH into Schedule I. The same scientific framework is now being applied to natural metragedine. This is a convergence of lived experience and formal scientific review by a state regulatory agency. I urge the board to evaluate these substances based on their pharmacology, documented risk, and established regulatory standards, not on how they are marketed or described in retail settings. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I didn't know you were done. Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. All right, Matthew Winterhawk, you're up next, please.
Winterhawk, for the record, WINTERHAWK. Over the past several years, especially following COVID, funny enough, I witnessed firsthand that there was a shift in this industry at a national trade show called CHAMPS here locally in Las Vegas. And within that supply chain, it was a strong push towards concentrated kratom products being marketed for pain relief, mood, and energy. And at that time, I actually raised concerns directly with the vendors and the shows and ultimately chose to step away from participation with any of them because the trajectory was clear that the increasing potency, increasing accessibility, and no meaningful regulatory framework was their goal. Today, these products are now widely available in smoke shops and gas stations with no standardized dosing, no consistent labeling or alkaloid content, no meaningful consumer protections. At the same time, communities are now dealing with dependence and withdrawal, individuals that are seeking help from kratom-related use. So now there are kratom treatment centers within proximity of the smoke shops statistically and are strategically placed. Funny enough, this is a future concern that is already happening. So it's like they know what they're doing. The industry knew what it was doing when it started. The facilitators who are now treating kratom addicts know what they're doing when they set up their shops. These smoke shop owners know that they have so long to make the money off of it before it's scheduled. This is something that happens again and again and again. Add a CBD derivative, add something else. Oh, you made that legal or illegal? Well, we'll hydrolyze it, or we'll add a fragmented piece to it, or we'll do something else to it. Now we'll change the marketing. They were shipping and trafficking cannabis, actual marijuana, across all 50 states due to a loophole that was inside of the Farm Bill. My concern is not that we're operating faithfully. We're operating in what we would call a post-reaction model, where substances are widespread availability before meaningful oversight is actually applied. And I'm here to respectfully urge that you create a more proactive front-end approach to banning these substances and not making them readily available, testing them on the public, right? And then bringing it in to profit at the pharmaceutical level, the scheduling. It's really wild to watch them test it on the people like rats and then bring it in and then be like, now we're going to make the money on it because we saw how much money can be made on it. And that's the problem with me. It needs to be an actual solution for pain seekers. There's a real community out there, and they look at us, for the people speaking against it, as against them, and we're not. What I want is a safe alternative for all of them. I want them to not have pain. I want them to have real lives and not to be seeking or living. Their Social Security checks are going to smoke shops. I watch families walk in there.
Go ahead and do your final comments, please. Thank you.
I apologize. Thank you, but this is a huge subject, and it takes a lot of input. Thank you. Have a great day.
We appreciate your input on it. Mr. or Miss Chamberlain, if you can unmute yourself, we've unmuted you. If you could go ahead and speak.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Wendy Chamberlain, founder of Kratom Danger Awareness, Inc. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I am here as a mother. My son, Joseph Lambrazo, died in 2020 from accidental metragedine toxicity after using a product he believed was safe. This product was marketed as a GMP natural leaf powder for energy. There were no other substances in his system or underlying health concern. There were no real warnings, no understanding of the risks, and no protections that prevented his death. Our petition to the Drug Enforcement Administration has been accepted and is now under review, under federal review, under the Controlled Substances Act. Your decision today contributes to the National Public Health Evaluation. In March 2026, the CDC reported that hospitalizations and poisonings involving kratom have increased by more than 1,200% over the past decade. We are told regulation like the Kratom Consumer Protection Act will make these products safer, but it does not. It creates the appearance of safety while allowing continued sale of a substance that has no FDA approval, not lawfully marketed as a dietary supplement, and has been linked to addiction, toxicities, and death. Even the states with so-called protections, we continue to see harm. This is not a labeling issue. This is not a consumer education issue. This is a public health and safety issue. I respectfully urge the board to take meaningful action to protect Nevada residents by not regulating the sale of these products, by recognizing the risk they pose. Because behind every statistic is a person, and behind every testimony is my son. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Madam President, that's all we see online for comments. Again, if anybody wants to provide comments, you can do that in writing after the meeting. It'll become part of the public record. As I turn it back over for the board for discussion, I'll remind you that NRS 453.166 talks about Schedule 1 substances, and the statute directs you to, if you find a product that has a high abuse potential and has no medical use, that you shall schedule that as 1. So as we've had some public comment, you're certainly acting within your statutory authority. As I mentioned before, the legislature has the final say on what passes or what doesn't pass. And there's other schemes where Schedule 1s are still purchased. All you're doing is looking at the science of the substance itself and does it qualify to be a Schedule 1 drug. With that, Madam President, I'll turn it over to you for to lead the discussion.
And Madam President, I think there is one more person who raised their hand.
Okay, thanks, Susan. Thanks, Jen.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
We can, go ahead.
Thank you for hearing my testimony. Yes, my name is Susan Cave. I'm the mother of William Cave, who died 2 years ago this coming Monday from consuming raw leaf kratom, not synthetics or synthetic derivatives or 7-OH. He was healthy. He worked hard. He took raw leaf kratom to help with his anxiety and depression. At the same time, he was taking kratom. He was taking prescribed antidepressants, Prozac and Celesta. And when he died, I had no idea why he died. I thought it might have been a heart attack, but his toxicology came back with everything within normal limits, but it showed a very high level of mitragynine. I believe it was 1,219 nanograms per milliliter in his blood. And after that happened, I learned that kratom can really do some bad things to you. He thought it was safe when he first started taking it in 2020. He thought it was safe. I thought it was safe. I even asked him, William, is this safe? Yes, Mom, it's safe. I've read everything. What I read, it said it was safe. And then when he died, I learned all these horrible things about kratom, like there are no FDA-approved medical uses for kratom. And kratom is not lawfully marketed as a dietary supplement, although it's sold as one. The FDA has warned for over a decade that kratom use may cause liver injury, seizures, substance use disorder, and death. And I hate to rebut Mrs. Ross's testimony, but kratom use during pregnancy can lead to neonatal abstinence syndrome, a withdrawal syndrome observed in newborns following in utero exposure. Suitors indicates thousands of kratom-involved overdoses. Kratom has a high potential for abuse, no accepted medical use.
15
Right
seconds.
now, the states of Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Indiana, Louisiana, Vermont, Wisconsin have all banned kratom. Please, please do no harm. Please, and I appreciate you. It seems like you guys are really knowledgeable about kratom. A lot of legislators I listen to have no clue, but thank you. And please listen to these families, listen to me. And I appreciate your consideration and thank you for letting me testify.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we have one more that's for the regulation. Denis, go ahead and go, and you're within your 30-minute time frame.
Hi, I'm here today because my niece died last year using what she believed was
Denis,
safe
hold on.
and
Denis,
natural product.
Denis, you have two devices on for sound, so turn off your computer sound or something, and then you're getting a reverb. We want to be able to hear you, so the reverb's difficult. So if you turn off one of your devices, and then go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you,
Right.
is it fixed?
It's not. Let's just take our time. Are you operating on your phone or a computer? There's two sounds on your side, so they're reverbing against, or two microphones. So if you have two devices that you're using, turn one of them off. Go ahead and try now.
Can you hear me now?
Still getting the reverb, so what I'm going to have you do you have a pen and a piece of paper there?
I do.
I'm going to just give you a phone number, just dial back in and we'll put you in. So the phone number that you'll dial into is, get ready to write it, 669-900-6833. And then the meeting ID that you'll put in is 588-625-6671. If you just dial that with your phone, we won't be able to see you, but you don't have your camera on anyway. I'll read the number one more time, 669-900-6833. And then the meeting ID is 625-6671. We'll look for you in Zoom when you come in. Can you give me the last four digits of your phone number, please?
Always pampering the negative stories.
Are they done?
We may need to get the
Madam President, just give us a moment. We'll try to get Danae on the line here.
Good God.
I thought it was frozen. They just got to the regular calendar on Tennessee.
Okay, so we're ahead over there after this is done.
Yeah.
So once they get to the Creighton bill in Tennessee, we'll go live for that one too, y'all. This pisses me off. We couldn't even get up there and testify, but they're pampering a freaking negative story.
I know, right? Like they're waiting, they're holding the whole thing up for her.
This is insane.
Danae, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and speak.
Are you there? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh my
I can't get it figured out.
Stay right here. You're logged on twice. We're going to try to.
Make her submit a written comment like you're telling us to do, buddy.
Amy, it's been started. They're not going in order. It's been going for like 3 or 4 hours now. Tennessee. I'm sorry for not putting people's comments on the screen, but there's I've got like 4 devices.
You were like,
and I got just got a phone call, and it's like, woo. I wish I was an octopus.
Oh, I know.
If they had 2 brains, I'd have to have 2 brains to have 8 freaking arms.
They are literally catering to a negative story.
Like, this is not cool. Darla wants this taken. Look at Darla. She has been just a breath of hot air the whole time.
I know everybody's messaging me about the same thing. I know.
You know?
It is. Go ahead, Danae. We got you. Thanks.
Okay, I am so sorry.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's technology. Go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry. So I'm here because my niece, she died from kratom. She thought that what she was using was safe and that it was natural. It wasn't. She went from a functioning working person, a college student, to being stuck at home and being depressed. And we didn't know what was wrong with her. But what ended up happening is she died. And the investigation and the autopsy determined it was natural kratom. She didn't understand the risk. It was marketed as a natural plant and that it was safe, and it was sold openly with no clear warnings. And she believed it was helping her pain, but it was actually making it worse. And I live in Idaho, here in Bonneville County. The coroner did a report. In the past 18 months, there's been 6 people who have died with kratom in their system. 4 of them were determined to be solely of mitragynine toxicity, so no other causes. We're a small area, we're a small city. Then we also have North Idaho, where the Panhandle Health District issued a public warning due to deaths and due to addiction. So these are official health warnings that have come from public health, and the product's being sold over the counter. There's no standard dosing, no constant strength, and no established safe limits. People are making these decisions based on how it's marketed, not on how these investigations, they're making decisions based on how it's marketed. My niece believed that it was safe, and so many other people are believing that it's safe, and it's costing them their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Danae. Thanks for working through the technology. Madam President, let's see what time we have. You have time for one more in your 30 minutes. So, and I think somebody just added late. So, Susan, you already went. Well, go ahead. I don't know if there's more than one. There might be more than one Susan. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Susan.
My name's Susan Eppard.
Okay.
And I would love for you to ban all forms of kratom. My 22-year-old son died in 2021 before they made any concentrated 7-OH or Pseudonoxil or MGM-15 or any of those other. He died strictly from kratom whole leaf powder, which was advertised to him as like a coffee product for energy. And it caused him to have a seizure and go into cardiac arrest and die on his kitchen floor in front of his girlfriend, who is completely devastated and will be for the rest of her life. And his toxicology and autopsy showed he had no underlying health conditions. He had no prescription drugs, no street drugs, nor alcohol in his system when he died. And this shouldn't be happening. And this has been over 4 years of my fight to get this garbage drug off the streets. And I've had so many people come to me on my social medias where I've had over 10 million views telling me that their loved one died from kratom. And I feel like I'm really not stopping this garbage drug and getting it off the streets and out of the gas stations, just freely available to all of our children. And it's just been heartbreaking for me. It has completely destroyed my life and my life for my family. It's been completely devastating. Please ban this garbage drug.
Thanks, Susan. Susan, can you just spell your last name? We want to get the record correct, please.
Yes, it's EPPARD.
All right, and we appreciate your testimony. Madam President, that's it. Go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And the Oscar goes to. Yep.
So I think as a start, what we can do is for our board members, if you have any questions, maybe for Dr. Zarley on the presentation, we'll start with questions and then we could move into our discussion. So I'll start us there. Does anyone have any questions before we go into discussion?
For staff, no, Madam President.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for staff?
I do not have any questions for staff. I appreciate the work that Dr. Zarley has put into this presentation and for sharing that with us today. I'd also like to start by just acknowledging all the public comments that we've had, both for and against. I think it's helpful always to receive feedback from the public. I'll start our discussion. I think first, I'd like to offer my condolences to those who spoke today, particularly who lost a loved one, a family member or a child. As a parent myself, I can't imagine losing a child in this fashion or to an overdose or an overdose specific to kratom. Secondly, I want to recognize that I hear from a lot of the testimony today that many of those who spoke against the regulation are people who are seeking help and relief. And I hear the pain in your voice, and I hear the need that you are expressing, that you want to have some type of relief, whether it's from your depression, your anxiety, maybe for your performance, whatnot. And I know that it is very difficult when you're out there and you are suffering. And I think in many ways, perhaps due to some of the marketing of kratom, individuals have turned to kratom thinking that it's a natural, safe way to alleviate some of those ailments or pain that they have been feeling.
Because it is.
I've been increasingly concerned and watching and studying kratom because it's become so much more popularized, and especially amongst young people as a way to kind of get ready for your workout, get ready for your day, maybe to, moms who are working and trying to juggle work and parenting, and same with fathers, to give them just that extra performance boost so they can do and manage life. And so I think, unfortunately, it has been marketed in such a way that I think most consumers are not informed that it could also be very dangerous to take, and that there are risks to taking a drug that is not FDA approved.
It's not a drug.
That does not have any approved medical use, and that has been designated by the DEA as a drug of concern.
Dude, Darla looks mean.
Last week, I think just last week, I was able to attend a national conference that is the RX and
Oh, hell no.
Conference or summit, and one of the main session topics, was kratom and the concern of increasing kratom-related deaths across the country.
That's Kolodny's baby.
And then just the concerns around the mislabeling, that it often shows that the ingredients are inaccurate, or the strength is inaccurate, or that it was not
My Zoom messed up.
It was me.
manufactured in a way that was safe or free of contaminants. And so I think as we as a nation deal with our opioid epidemic, we're seeing a rise in kratom related deaths, and I think some of those might be individuals who in earnest have thought that this could help with their recovery from opioids, but instead has created a separate problem in terms of their addiction. And so I say that because I have.
They're taking a
you know,
15-minute
I
recess
think
in
as we
Tennessee.
look at our communities, you know, our communities need help and they need support. And I just want to express that there are, I want to remove the stigma for any type of recovery. I think there was a speaker today who mentioned that she went through recovery, and I think recovery is probably one of the most difficult things to do. But it's so important that we focus on recovery and support, and there's medications out there to help support the transition away from kratom for those who have formed a dependency on it. And
Suboxone.
there's help available. I think there's a large amount of people who may not even realize at this point that they need help because they were under the impression that it was safe and non-addictive. But it is very physiologically addictive. We've seen that. We've seen that it's harmful and that it has led to deaths in our communities and again across the nation. And with that, I think just overall, when I take into consideration the information that is out there, the science behind the drug, the feedback from our communities, including today, you know, I look at what we are here to do as a board.
They're gonna recommend
and as a
it.
board, we are here to protect the public.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And specifically in this matter, and I know that it is very,
I had a
it's
feeling.
a matter that's gained a lot of attention. We are here to determine whether or not, you know, this is safe for Nevadans, and I think in terms of our, you know, our authority, and as Dave mentioned, for NRS 453146, I don't see how we cannot schedule this drug. I don't see how we cannot protect Nevadans and regulate kratom and any derivative of kratom. So those are just my initial thoughts as I think about this workshop item. And from there, I'll turn it over to my board members for you to share your thoughts as well.
Madam President, I'd like to, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. You just have a very nice way of saying it, and I agree with it. I just a couple thoughts about what we saw today and what happened today. We had the people that came forward that use kratom and swear by it, says it changed their lives. And 3 or 4 people said it changed their lives. It gave them their life back, and they need it. I feel certainly we would have had more come forward and say the same thing, except that, like Dr. Knight, a Washoe County coroner said, they've expired, or they would have been here too. But it killed.
On my shirt.
We've had experts. The gentleman from Johns Hopkins did a paper on it. Maybe many papers on why it's fine. The leafy substance. He agrees with the derivatives could be scheduled, but he disagrees about
See the
leafy
emojis?
substance.
Yeah.
And we would have had many more experts come and say this thing, but we're going to have just as many experts, which I've seen and read about, that say just the opposite. That say no, leafy substance has to be scheduled too, and here's why. They give just as many great reasons why it should be.
People already have their minds made up.
The problem we have is that the leaf, you need that. You need the kratom leaf in order to make the derivatives.
No, you don't.
So that to just regulate the derivatives, that's not enough. This board, I don't want to, I could talk all day about this, but this board needs to just do what they're sworn to do, is to protect
Nevadans.
All right, y'all are done.
And
Y'all put a fork in them.
if we don't schedule it, we're not doing our job. I wouldn't be able to go to bed at night and not feel guilty if there's just another death. There's recourse. If we schedule this board, keep in mind, board, if we schedule this and we're overruled by the courts or we're overruled by the legislature,
Yeah.
we did our part. We did what we were sworn to do. We can't control what the courts are going to do or what the legislature might do. But we could control what we do. We could do our best to protect Nevadans.
Dude, Matthew.
And we could put our heads on a pillow at night and sleep comfortably knowing that we did it. And if people die because the legislature or the courts overruled us, it's not on our conscience. It's not on my soul. It's not on your soul.
Look at
We
that
have to
guy.
do what we were sworn to do here. This is a very, very important thing. And I do want to say that for those people that say
It's not
a
a
leafy substance is fine, you could take it. While they were saying that, I was thinking about my days when I was working with narcotics and law enforcement, about how it's like heroin, and that, yes, it helps you today, but then you need a little bit more tomorrow. And your body will take that, now needs a little bit more to
No, you
tolerate
don't.
it. And the proof was the young lady that came before us and said that she started out with 1 capsule, was wound up taking 100 capsules because your body just absorbed it. It's a dead end street.
No,
The leafy substance is a dead end street.
Just unintelligent.
So the proof of the pudding is all the deaths. And that's what we're here to prevent, the death.
No.
So that's my feeling. I feel like we have to do what's right for Nevadans. If we get overruled, we did our part. We did our best to protect them. We did what we were sworn to do.
Insane.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Tomaso.
Adam Porth for the record. I am in support of regulation of not only 7-OH and the other derivatives, but the metragenine parent compound as well. I think when we consider how we want to craft this, I think looking at the current regulation language, I would like to see some sort of a change to address the evolving derivatives that are coming out. So I would like to give board staff direction that we need to change the proposed regulation to also address things like the 15 and 16. I don't know if within the legal construct of the regulation, it seems like it's very compound specific for the rest of the Schedule I products. So I'm not sure how we can do that without specifically calling out each and every one. The other thing is just a couple of thoughts that came across as far as how some people, this is their experience with it has been very safe, and for others, obviously, there's been tragic consequences. I mean, I think metragenine, similar to codeine, you have something that, you know, in its parent form is not super dangerous, but as our liver starts to metabolize it, you get into much more pharmacologically active compounds. I think we all can appreciate that there's a pharmacogenomic component to this, that there are certain people within our population that their livers metabolize things differently than other people. And we're not going to be able to predict that, especially with something that's available readily over the counter. So certainly I think that there's enough demonstrated risk that it's our duty to schedule these compounds.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Porath.
Carr, for the record, I'm also in support of scheduling metragenine, kratom, and all of the derivatives. The concerns that I have too is when we're dealing with something that is considered natural, safe, you come across unregulated products where we have no idea the concentration or the amount that the person is actually ingesting. And while there's no clear, at this point, documented what level is considered lethal as not, we're marketing these to young children. Young children don't have fully formed, frontal cortexes. They're making decisions based off
Here we go.
things like, oh, this is gonna pump me up, get me ready for the gym,
kid.
things of that nature. And as has been documented in the testimony, I as someone starts to use these products, they become more and more reliant on them. And we just don't know what the safe, or if there is any safe amount. And so in doing so, in order to keep Nevadans safe, I don't think we have any choice but to schedule this product and all of its derivatives as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Carr. Ms. Jacobo, did you want to make any statements?
God dang it. Did I mess up the Zoom again?
Good.
Yeah.
Nothing in addition to what all of
That's
my
all right.
fellow board
Matthew was
members has
making me
already
sick.
discussed. I appreciate all of the testimony, share the same concerns, and I'm fully supportive of the regulation.
Okay. And then I'd like to also give an opportunity to Board Member Freitas, if you are out there and you'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, so anything other than what's already been said, I would say on a very basic level, for me, if this medication on a chemical level is able to affect your life in a positive way, it's able to do the same thing in a negative way. So I'm also in favor of this.
Boo.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, thank you, board members, for the discussion. I think we're ready to move and take a motion. I think we're ready for.
Yeah, just thanks, Madam President. Dave Weiss for the record. I think just as Adam said, I think the path is it could stay in its current form, or we can make an attempt with LCB to address derivatives. I believe that there's a way to do that, but even if we do that, you've seen this already because you've been here for years. There'll be a new substance that has to be addressed, and we'll address that as we can see it and test for it. So it's tough for us to do. We need testing first to know that it's a product, and you've seen the work that you do with the crime lab that we have to be able to test for it. So we'll work with the stakeholders that we're already working with. And address that the derivative. I think most of the testimony, all but one, maybe or two, was for the derivative. So I don't think there's any issue with that. You'll see it again when you get it back from for hearing, and that LCB have well done our work in LCB. So I just need them if you're going to make a motion, it sounds like you are, just to direct us to try to incorporate the derivatives that we know about, and then we'll bring that back when we get it back for hearing.
Yeah, they had their mind made up when this started.
Well, for the record, I would move that we adopt the proposed amended regulation and also give the board direction to capture any of the known derivatives of Kratom as well.
Kratom saves lives.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms. Jacobo. Was that a second by Mr. Porath? Okay, so second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion?
So it looks like we're going to have to hit legislation.
Yeah.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Boo.
Any opposed? Okay, that
None.
motion passes. Thank you
Really?
for that discussion.
I raised my hand, shit.
With that, we are going to take a brief break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Boo.
The recording has stopped.
Yeah, Shannon, they got their minds made up. Period.
Boo. Well, looks like we're going to have to fight in legislation. So y'all folks in Nevada are going to need to pony up.
Yeah, sold out scumbags. SOS, sold out scumbags.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Moms for Kratom group. I'm down.
Man, what's up, Dylan? Justin, what's up? Amy, what's up? Ange, Shannon. Yep. So they're recommending a Schedule 1. They're recommending a Marshall Price. They're recommending a Shayna Brown. That's what the fuck they're recommending.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, KDA is like classic. Like I could make 10 bullet points right now of what each one of them always bring up.
Yeah. And they're cute to cry. They're cute. They have been coached so hard. It's almost like they took some Viagra.
Exactly. Every time they say regulation, that means ban.
Yeah, because in some states, regulation means ban. Like, especially in Massachusetts, like we're sitting there thinking that, oh, they're going to talk about regulating it. Regulation to them equals ban.
Man, you got that right, Justin. A big, fat, tangled, stinky, doo-doo butts mess.
Yeah, fuck you, 70H.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Like, I'm over here waiting for them to go ahead and ban that shit in Tennessee today because of 708.
Because of 7, oh, yeah, and a Benadryl death.
Well, yeah, that opened the door.
Yeah.
You know, and for all we know, he was taking 708.
What's up, Abdullah? I know, huh? I know, because he died in 2024.
Yup. Dude, girl, Amy, I don't know, dude. I don't know. They're all bad.
They're all bad.
The regulars.
They're all an orgy of just nastiness and hatefulness and just stank.
It's
Just
like pure,
bad.
like pure unadulterated hate.
Yeah.
For just,
Yeah.
and it's not even like hate for Kratom, it's hate for us, like for
Yeah.
advocates. Like that's what that really kills me. It's like it's not even for the substance that you say supposedly, took your loved one out. It's because we're telling our stories.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that shit.
They're all involved in in lawsuits or will be involved. So this right here is another check off in their book for when they go to court. See, look what Nevada did.
They gonna
consider
drink
it a
some,
public health crisis.
drink some wine tonight to celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that where she clipped up that video of JFK and the FDA talking about 7.
Yeah. It's not banned now in Vegas. The Board of Pharmacy is recommending that it become a Schedule 1 drug because of 7OH.
Yeah, I've been saying this. Like, I wish I knew how to go about that, Dylan.
Shit, which one do we need to investigate? There's a fuck ton.
Yeah, that's true. Because I know they all got some skeletons in their closets.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go. So we're going to end this live. And then once the Tennessee bill comes up, then we're going to go live again. So y'all be
on recess right now.
They're still in recess. Okay.
Yeah. I got to go pee.
Yeah, me too.
So we'll be back whenever Tennessee finally brings the bill up. They're on item 2. Yeah, they either just ended item 2 or they're gonna start with item 2 on the regular agenda. So, and we're number 7.
Yeah. So once it gets close to the Tennessee bill, then we'll go live. So y'all be making sure to either, come back to Winifred's page or our YouTube channels or, subscribe to our YouTube channels and then click the notification bell thing and it'll let you know. So,
see you in Tennessee. I love that. See you in Tennessee.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
Bill, I'll
bye,
send it to you.
everybody.